I'm sure everybody's heard of NetLogger. If you've ever checked into a net over the internet, if you've ever been on a net and you're like, oh, we're on NetLogger today, you hear them talk about them being on NetLogger. It's a piece of software where you can kind of keep track of what goes on during a net and who checks in, especially if you're on an HF net and you can't hear all the check-ins, but you can only hear net control. There's a new piece of software called Ham.Live, and we're going to get with Sean today to talk about his project he's been working on for a few years now. It's a free project. You can join, just create an account on Ham.Live. I'll put a link in the description below, and we're going to see everything it does right now. Okay, I'm here today with Sean, KK6BEB, Bravo Echo Bravo, creator and owner of Ham.Live, which is a new netlogger, as I said a minute ago. Sean, thanks for joining us today. Looking forward to seeing what you got to present to us. And tell us a little bit about how you came up with the idea, a little bit about your background in ham radio, and then we'll get started with the demo.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Jason. I've been working on Ham.Live for a few years now, actually. And let's see. Well, I think you asked, why did I build it? I've been a NetLogger user for a long time. Great software. I love what they did. I love what they do for the community. To be honest, there are some things that I sort of wanted in sort of my ideal product. I wanted more of like a real-time chat. I was hoping for email notifications when a net starts. So if I don't, if I'm not, maybe I can follow a net or favorite a net and get a notification every time that net starts. I wanted something for my own personal use. I don't know about much of the audience, but I run on a lot of different devices. I have an iPhone, a tablet, an iPad. Sometimes I'm in the field. Sometimes I'm running on my Linux laptop. And so I wanted something that would just run anywhere. So those essentially what I just mentioned were the design goals for the product. It was like real-time chat, email notifications, interactive, easy to use, can run on anything. In fact, there's a net out your way. I think it's called the South Coast Reflector Net. Those guys, I was talking to one of the net control guys out there, and he said he runs the net on Ham.Live from his phone, believe it or not. He does net control from his phone.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. So that was it. I wanted something that was just simple. Sometimes it's hard to set up a net and go through that process and train people with different solutions. And so I just wanted something where you can get a net up and running in 5 seconds. And I think the other motivating factor, and I think you've done an awesome job talking about this on your channel, which is a lot of repeaters are quiet these days, right? And people aren't keying up. And I actually think the solution to the quiet repeater problem is right in front of our face. I think it's nets, and I think it's more nets. Like if you have a club where the repeater's quiet and you don't have any nets, I think that's step one, man. Get a net, call it breakfast club, call it, afternoon commute, call it coffee talk, call it morning roundtable. Just like have a net. Even if you don't know how to run a net, use NetLogger, use Ham.Live, which I'm going to show you, use pencil and paper, but use something and start a net, because I think for a lot of new folks coming into the hobby, people do get mic shy. And I think when you have structure and you have like, hey, the net's starting at this time, there's a topic sometimes. So it kind of takes the barrier to entry down a bit. The people there, just given the setup of a net, people are generally pretty welcoming, especially to new hams, I've noticed. And so I think nets are a great way. I think it's less risky and there's a low barrier to entry for new hams. Rather than keying up in the ether and not knowing who's there, hey, it's a net. I know it starts at this time. I got a busy schedule, but I know at 7 p.m. I can join this thing. So I think that's my long-winded way of saying I think nets are the solution for the quiet repeater problem. And that was another motivating factor. It's like, man, if we could make running a net and starting a net where you're up and running in 5 seconds, and it really is. I'll show you here. I'll share my screen with you and I'll show you how easy it is to start a net.
Let me switch over here. So this is what we have. This is Ham.Live, and I've created an account here. So after I'm logged in, this is what it looks like.
Okay.
So,
So
and
let me
you should be
see.
able to see that on your Zoom screen.
So when you go to Ham.Live,
Hmm.
you'll and if you click on a 10 net, you'll get a listing of any nets that are running. There should be a net running here in about an hour, but there's nothing running right now. So if you were to just click on the main lobby,
Uh-huh.
the system would actually ask you to create an account. And account creation is really simple. I already have one, but it's just going to ask you these few questions. It's going to ask you your name, your call sign, and location,
Hmm.
and then you're ready to go. So, and then after that, you can start a net. So I'm going to go ahead and click Start Net up here on the top. And so I have these are some test nets on the, this is me testing for you, actually. Ham
Okay.
Radio 2.0. Here, I'm actually going to just create a new one. Let me delete that.
Okay.
Uh, we'll say, okay, this is what it's like starting a net from scratch. Ham Radio 2.0. Okay, frequency, and I'm going to make this a sideband net, even though probably not a lot of sideband nets, but I'll show you why in a
Now,
bit.
if I wanted to put in there something besides a frequency, say an all-star node number, could I
Yeah,
do that? Okay.
that's a fantastic question.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
in fact, most of the nets are reflector based.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you could just say digital reflector, and then you don't even need to put a frequency in.
Gotcha. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Exactly. And then here you might put in this example, reflector 030 Charlie or talk
Gotcha.
group, talk group blah, right?
Okay.
So in fact, we can do it that way, but I'm going to do a sideband next. I want to show you some of the features
Sure. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
don't.
That was
Okay.
just a question I had when I was wondering if that field was restricted to only frequency numbers.
Yes.
Uh.
No, it's a great question.
Okay.
And you can put the reflector info in here, like I
Okay.
said.
Good.
And then these are just some notes that attendees see when they jump in the net. So you can say cutting edge ham radio, whatever. All right. And then we'll save that. And then that's it. So every time you start this net as net control, it's created. So how long did that take me to create a net? I don't know, 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And
Something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So then you say start net. And now this is pretty cool. This countdown minutes. What this means is the system's going to blast out an email to everyone that is following or has favorited this net. And this is how long you want to give them to as far as warning. So
Hmm.
sometimes net control will show up here maybe 15 minutes early and then
Hmm.
say start net, and they'll show up a quarter to and start the net. They know everyone's getting emailed and people have this 15-minute grace period to show up. So that's how that email notification system works. But for us, I'll just say 1 minute just for the heck of it. So here you go. So I'm net control, and this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like when you're net control running a net. So you can see I'm in there. And I don't know if you want to jump in there, Jason. You're
Hmm.
on the main screen there. You should see this net running on
Yes, I
yours.
do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I
So if
sure
you
do.
okay, so if you click, oh, there you go,
Okay.
Pac-Man. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So cool. So you can see if people are online and you're kind of a lurker. That's why it's got this eyeball by you. And this
Okay.
green, yeah, and this green dot means you're actually online on the internet. And if I highlight over you, you can see Grapevine, Texas. So it shows where people are located and stuff like that when you just
Okay.
mouse over. I'm going to show you how easy it is to run a net. So it is literally one command. Now there's a bunch more I can show you, but I'll just show you the absolute easiest way to do this. It's literally just, I'm going to check in a call. So I'm going to check in a buddy of mine who uses Ham.Live quite often. So I'm going to check in K0PIR. So it's just I to check someone in, K0PIR. It's just I for in.
That's an I you're typing
Yep.
from this angle. It looks like a forward slash. It's an I.
Yeah, it's an
Okay.
I. Sorry,
Okay.
I think it's italicized, but
Yeah, it
yeah,
looks italicized. Okay. All right.
yes, exactly. So it's I K0PIR, hit enter, and you can see. And by the way, notice how fast it was on your screen. It's
Yeah.
using, I won't get into the tech weeds too much, but it's using something called server sent events where it just pushes real fast to everyone. So
Okay.
it's really neat technology and it's just instantaneous. So oh, and by the way, we can chat in here, Jason. So hey there. If you want to, I don't know if you feel like typing something in there, but this is an
I see it.
actual, yeah, this is an actual real time chat. So we'll check in some more. Let me check in some more folks so it looks populated.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'll just do I KE0DC, and you can just do I and then a bunch of call signs like a list. W0SUN, W0KPH, N6GP. I'm just gonna copy this a bunch of folks. K6DOC, KF6KFG, KI6FW. Sure. So
Yeah.
now you can
Now it's all
see,
popped up there at once.
boom, right? And so
Yep.
now everyone's in here, and it's really that simple. So let's say, hey, you're running your net, and some of these guys are maybe short time, they're in and out. How do you capture that? You can just left click on their call sign and maybe highlight them. Maybe that highlight means they're in and out, they're not sticking around. That highlight can mean whatever you want it to mean, but you can left click on a call sign to highlight them. And it's real interactive too. Like there's a net called the Digital Learning Net, runs out, I believe, out of Colorado, and those guys use Ham.Live for like Q&A. So you can raise your hand. See that hand icon on the bottom of your screen?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you click that once,
Let's see if yeah, okay. So I can't see that in the
oh, I got to scroll down
video
too.
right now. Yeah, I'm gonna adjust here too. Yeah, there we
Okay.
go. Okay. So yeah, down there at the bottom, kind of in the center of the screen's a hand. So I'm gonna click on mine right now.
Yeah. And you can see your hands up, right?
Yeah.
And I can see your hand up, and then up here on my control panel, I can see these are whose hands are up.
I see.
So, and then so let's say I call on you, then I can just left click on your hand and it lowers your hand because your question was answered.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's
Okay.
some of the interactive features like hand raising. I'm just going to do this just to make it more illustrative. So that's what it looks like if everyone raises their hand, and
Okay.
and you can just click on them and call on them. And so
Gotcha.
what else do you need to know as net control? Believe it
Well,
or
what
not, it's
the
it's
R
ri- oh, go ahead. Yeah.
the RS field, is that receive sent signal
Yeah,
report? Is that what
yeah,
that
yeah.
is?
I'm
Okay.
glad you mentioned that.
Mhm.
So because I chose a sideband net,
Mhm.
people can give each other signal reports. And so let's say I'm hearing, I'm just going to pick someone here, Bucky. Let's say I'm hearing Bucky at a 5 and 7. So I'll do 5-7 for Bucky, and you'll see a 5-7 on your screen. But
Yep.
watch this. This is kind of cool. If you don't mind, give him a 5 and 9.
You want me to type
Yeah,
5-9?
yeah, give him a 5 and 9. I gave him a 5 and 7, and then watch what happens.
I typed 5-9 and it hit tab. Should I hit
Oh,
enter?
hit enter, hit enter. Sorry, my
5-9
bad.
enter.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Oh,
now
now it
you
says
can see
5-8.
5-8. So it
Yeah.
averages it, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, which is kind of cool because you can kind of see over time, like you can aggregate it. Like in aggregate, how are people coming in
Mm-hmm.
overall? Which is it's a pretty neat feature. Let's say I needed some help running this net. I wanted to a couple of people to relay for me. So
Okay.
I'm gonna get my buddy Clifford here to relay for me. So I'm gonna type R for relay, KK6 QMS, Quebec Mike Sierra. And now watch this. He's checked in, and up on the top right of the screen, you can see
Mm-hmm.
relays, KK6 QMS. And so he's a relay. He doesn't really get any special privileges. It just kind of calls him out. So when people join the net, they can see we've got a relay. But
Mm-hmm.
one of the more interesting things is you can make people loggers. So if I make you a logger, if I say log KC5 HWB, now you're checked in and you're a logger, but notice how your screen changed. You got net control panel also on your screen.
Yes, I have. Yeah, so I have this. Okay, I'm showing my screen now. My screen's the one on the left of the viewer screen. So this is.
Right.
I've got this field right here I can type in. So yeah,
Yeah.
that popped up when you did that.
Yeah, and your commands are, it's kind of a limited
Mm-hmm.
subset of commands. But yeah, you can check people in and out as a logger. So I don't know if you'd be willing to just type I space and pick some call sign at random.
Let's
Um,
pick on Frank.
okay, pick on Frank.
Just hit enter.
Yeah, just hit enter.
Okay.
And there you go. And it was instantaneous. So Frank showed up on my side,
Okay.
out in Texas also. So
Yes.
because I moused over him and it showed me Texas. By the way, this is all coming in through QRZ. So
Ah.
if you check people in and they don't have accounts with Ham.Live, it goes and gets their info from QRZ for you.
Okay.
And there's no setup involved in that. It's all just automatic.
Yeah, NetLogger you have to install an app on your
Yeah,
local machine, and then this is all web based, so that
that's right.
makes it a little bit more convenient for sure.
Yeah, and you don't need, I think with NetLogger, I could be wrong, but I think each net control has to get their own QRZ subscription and set up all that stuff. But
Mm.
it's this is all set up. And then if you were to click that star at the bottom of the screen where it says click to follow, unfollow the net,
Yes.
if the star is solid, you'll
Mm-hmm.
get an email notification in the future when this net starts.
Okay. Okay.
So that's how you follow a net. And in fact, I'll show you really quick the nets I follow. So if I go to settings and my favorites, so these are all the nets I'm following
Mm-hmm.
in the system today. So these are active nets that are running all the time in the system. You can see on the right how many people follow each of these nets.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Um, and then you can kind of see, the name of the net, the type of net. We are getting a lot of use. I think at last count, as of yesterday, there's 129 monthly nets on the system.
Really?
Yeah,
Monthly.
so monthly. So
So it,
monthly, every time you start a net, the system records the start net metric. So start net, that metric fired 129 times last month. So
well,
that
what if
might
it's the same? What is the same net?
That's exactly right. I was going to say that. That
Okay.
might
All right.
be that might be,
I
40
mean,
actual nets, right?
right. Yeah. 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 Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these HF nets are every day.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
the
Exactly.
yeah, and then
No,
the local clubs around me have a weekly net,
right.
so it might happen 4 maybe 5 times a month, something like that. So that would
Yeah,
okay.
that would skew
So
the numbers for sure. I don't want to
right,
overstate it, but it is
sure, sure,
yeah, I would say most of the nets are weekly in the system right now.
okay, all right. So 129 divided by 4 is still like 30ish,
Yeah.
something like that. So that's still a
It's
good
not
number.
bad. It's
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
good
it's not
for
bad.
for uh for just starting out here.
Okay.
Um Yeah, so I mean, it's really that simple. So you're a logger still.
hmm
I can show you one other thing. Let's
Okay.
say Steve there raises his hand and Mike
hmm
raises his hand,
hmm
and you're a logger. You can go ahead and call on them and just left click their hands, and you'll lower them. Just showing you how you can do that.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
as a
Okay.
logger, you have that permission. And then if you left click their call sign, Jason, you'll highlight the row.
Yes. Yeah, I see
Um,
that.
and then if you right click their call sign, you'll check them out. So you
Oh,
just
so
checked
they're
out,
like QRT or
yeah, or they're done,
in and out or something like that. So okay, all
or
right.
they left the net,
They
they're
left the net.
signing
Yeah.
off. So
Okay.
I'll check a few of these folks out so we get a list of strike through names there. I know I ripped through it fairly quickly.
Yeah.
There isn't much more to it, to tell you the truth.
Well, I mean, simplicity is a good thing. So
Yeah,
I mean, that's just shows how easy and simple it is. So that's not bad at all. I do
yeah.
like the. It looks like you've got this dark thing going on with black in the background, which is what I would prefer. But if someone wants a different theme, is that available, or is it
It's a
just
good
always going to?
question. Not at this time.
Okay.
I was actually trying to make it sort of high contrast. Um,
Ah. Okay.
that was the goal. So it kind of looks good in pretty much any lighting.
hmm
Oh, you know what I was going to show you actually? Before I forget, I wanted to show you what this looks like on a phone.
Oh.
So,
Okay. All right.
because believe it or not, it is super usable. So let me see if I can do that. So I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna say emulate. I'll do like emulate an iPad Pro. So there you
Okay.
go. So that is what Ham.Live looks like on an iPad Pro. So it's like pretty usable. You can still highlight these rows. You still get access to this net control panel.
hmm
Um, in fact, if you want to conserve real estate, you can kind of put these help commands away, and you can even
Oh, I see.
close this window up if you want. But
Okay.
um, and then let's say I go all the way down to like an iPhone 14 Pro Max. So there you go. This is what it would look like on a phone. Um, but as you can see, if you're attending this net, it's pretty usable if you're a net attendee. Like
Right.
I can go in here, I can see who's in the net, I can chat with them, I can raise my hand, I can follow it. So if you're out and about on your phone and a net running and you don't have a computer with you, this
Hmm.
is very usable. And there aren't a lot of options that let you run a net or attend a net via a mobile phone or a tablet.
Hmm. Hmm. That is true. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that myself. Okay.
So
Well, this is a neat piece of software. I'm glad you took the time to show it to me.
well, thank you. And it
Hmm.
means a lot that you let me demonstrate it today, Jason.
Uh-huh.
I'm a big fan of your channel and I really appreciate it. I'm excited about it. I've been spending the last few years building it. Actually also recently wrote an open source free dashboard for repeater owners to get a real-time view of how all the repeaters are doing. And so
Mm.
this is kind of a hobby within a hobby for me.
Okay.
Um, and I'm having a lot of fun with it, and
Mm.
I'm having a lot of fun seeing it grow. And hopefully we get a few more nets on board after this.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I've considered starting an all-star net on my all-star system. I,
Oh, that'd
I
be awesome.
I started a DMR net years ago in Texas, and it's still going. I kind of took a step back from it about a year or two ago, and a couple other people took the reins of it, and it's I have a conflict on the night that it happens on right now, but I ran that net for probably 5, 6, 7 years, something like that,
Oh man,
and there's a lot of people that check into the DM. It's unique because it's DMR, but it is just on the repeater network in Texas. It's not really broadcast worldwide like most DMR nets are. So it's a
that's
Texas
cool.
DMR net. Yeah, yeah,
I like that
yeah,
because it gets
yeah.
kind of a local feel.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm noticing a lot of people doing that too, where it's
Really.
sort of localized,
Hmm.
but yeah, over the internet. No, and I love All Star. I love my
Oh, I
clear
do
node.
too. Yeah.
I love my clear node. Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
by the way, actually, since you're mentioning,
Hmm.
I wouldn't do this with an HF net, but you reminded me of another feature that a lot of people use.
All right.
And if I go back to this net and I edit it, there's this feature called auto check-in.
Okay.
And what this for nets that are all-star nets, like you mentioned, or
Hmm.
reflector-based nets, if you check auto check-in, what happens is as soon as people jump in the Ham.Live room,
Hmm.
they are actually checked in. There's nothing for net control to do. And if you think about it, that actually makes a whole heck of a lot of sense for an all-star or a digital reflector-based net because
Hmm.
I think with a sideband net or an FM simplex net, you want net control to check them in. You want to know that they can actually get to you via RF. And so I think it makes sense for a logger net control to check them in. But for a reflector-based net, an all-star net, a digital net, just use the auto check-in feature because if they can get into ham.live, if they can jump into the room,
Hmm.
just let the system auto check them in. That digital learning net I told you about, they used to spend 15 minutes at the top of each net just manually checking everyone in before they
Yeah.
moved from NetLogger to Ham.Live. And they were like, man, we could just jump straight to the content now. And
Hmm.
they tell everyone over the air, they say, hey, look, we take check-ins via Ham.Live, log into Ham.Live, and you'll be checked in. And that's it. And then they'll read off the list. They'll say, oh, we're at 52 check-ins. Um, but you don't have that overhead with checking in. There's another
Hmm.
net, Let's Talk Digital Casey Wide.
Hmm.
Those guys, Bucky W0SUN runs it along with Kat and Doug and some of these other people I checked in here. But yeah, they use the auto check-in feature too. So I think for digital nets, and if you run an all-star net again, like it's kind of an interesting way to do it where if you can make it this far, if you can get online and get in the system, you're checked in and let's go. Because 10 minutes of check-ins kind of doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if it's a yeah, if it's over the internet, then it's kind of like just you're there,
Just
so
go. Yeah.
just go. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
can see that.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a topic based or a learning based net like that. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah. Now again, like one of the nets, I think the net I'm on every day, it's an HF net on 40 meters, called the Do Nothing net, and which is funny. Uh, it's funny really because people spend the net people talk about what they did that day, so it's which I
Do
love.
something net. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I sound particularly busy when I jump on the DNN net, it does sound funny because I'm like, it's not a do nothing kind of day today, but all right.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, there's HF nets you might want to let a logger or net control manually check you in, and then I think
Sure.
that makes sense there. But
Totally. Totally.
yeah,
Cool. Well, good, Sean. Thank you for the time today. This is this has turned out to be a very interesting topic. I like what you've done with it.
thank you.
I hope to see it grow. I hope you get a little bit more interest in it, as it were, spread the word, as it were, out there. Just for clarification, I'm sure this is true because you didn't mention it, but this is a free system to use,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and
Okay.
it's free and it'll always be free. I'm happy
Okay.
to document that here. I have no plans to ever charge for this, and
Okay.
my other project, the open source, it's an open source repeater dashboard. Which I'm not even going to plug it in on here. I'm not trying to. I mean, if you're interested in that sort of thing, let me know. But that's open source free. You can download it on GitHub. So
Mm.
it's a hobby within a hobby for me, and I have a lot of fun doing it. So
Good.
that's it.
Good.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot, man. This looks
All right.
great. I'll put a link to this in the description below. Everybody can go check that out. And if you do end up using it for a net that you're on, please do put a comment in the video. Let us know that you're out there. So, 73 to all. Thanks for joining me today, Sean. It's good information.
Thanks, Jason.
Yep.
7-3.
See ya.
Take care.